be able to get rid of the watermark. No, probably not. Okay, well, that doesn't matter. I will try and go like this. I want to talk about Joni Mitchell, and I want to talk about an album that I particularly like from this period of time. And it is the mid-'80s. It's actually smack bang in the middle of the '80s, 1985. And it is the release from Joni Mitchell, Dog Eat Dog. Okay, I've got the vinyl of this. There's the back cover. Just show you the gatefold. Go again. Yeah, so Dog Eat Dog basically is an album that came out, as I said, 1985. The 80s for any legacy artists were a very interesting time. Quite a lot of the artists that came out through the 60s and 70s had a pretty hard time acclimatizing to the then current musical climate. And as a result of the new climate featuring lots of synths, digital production was starting to come into the mainstream for studio artists. A lot of these artists found it quite difficult to incorporate what they'd already known and the sound that they already had into new studio technology and studio instruments. So you had albums like Bob Dylan's Empire Burlesque and a couple of the other ones like that. Neil Young, Trans, although I think Trans was probably more not trying to sound of the time, but probably trying to sound beyond the time with the vocoders and things like that that he incorporated into his album. But Joni Mitchell was sort of no different from these other artists in that when the 80s came around, the use of synthesizers and drum machines and things like that really came into the forefront of studio recording technology. On this album, what you're getting is the same quality songwriting as you would get on any other Joni Mitchell album. However, what you're going to hear on this album, there's more synthesizers, there's more gated snare drums, which is sort of synonymous with 80s production, which, like it or not, they can work sometimes, but most of the time they don't. They sort of end up being brought right forward to the mix, and that they can be quite migraine inducing if they're not produced properly. A lot of people have that sort of complaint about 80s production, and on this, I think it's pretty middling in a way. You're getting a lot of the 80s studio tropes, but I think nobody really talks too much about this album, and maybe the other albums in the 80s that she put out. Because there is a 82 release, While Things Run Fast, I think it's called. And then the 88 release, Chalk Mark in a Rainstorm, which tones down some of the 80s sensibilities on it. But, I mean, on this album, we've got like quite a lot of good tracks. So Good Friends is the first track on it. And it features Michael McDonald, who is everybody's favourite yacht rock vocalist. For me, I actually think this song is quite good. It is, for a reason, chosen as the lead single off the album, but it's actually quite good. You got Fiction is the second track, and Fiction is really very, very good as well, but it actually starts getting really good after that. So the Three Great Stimulants is some great lyric writing from Joni. Such a really, really good track. Tax Free, again, another great song. You're closing side one out with Smokin'. Empty, Try Another One, which is also really good. I actually really like the second side of this a bit more than the first side, because there's tracks like the title track Dog Eat Dog, which is really talking a lot about media and saturation, consumerism, and stuff like that. And that was sort of the things that were a byproduct of the 80s as well. In Reagan's America, especially, consumerism was at its highest. And, with the advent of MTV, cable TV, music video, it was visual stimuli overload for a lot of people. And this track's sort of a commentary on that. And we've got other ones, like the other highlight on side 2 is Utopia. It was probably my bad, sorry, Ethiopia. And that's probably my favorite track on the album. There's such great lyrics, and they're printed in here. There's some really, really great great lines in it, like little garden planet, oasis in space. Some hearts hurt, they can hardly stand it. Famine phantoms at the garden gates. Ethiopia, Ethiopia. Every Sunday on TV, Ethiopia. You suffer with such dignity, Ethiopia. A TV star with a PR smile calls your baby it while strolling. I won't go through the rest of it, but basically, you're always going to get something of substance from any Joni Mitchell release, and this is no different. The production is the elephant in the room that really lets it down. But I sort of think if you can get past that, I think it's actually quite a good release from her. So I'd recommend just going back into it. I'll be doing more of these as a series on this channel, and it'll be releases that haven't really been talked about, or they're like sort of buried in some sort of weird era for these artists. So there'll be more to come with that. But have a look at Dog Eat Dog. I think there might be something for you in that. And if not, that's okay as well. I mean, it's just one of my favorites. So I've got it. You'll find this LP pretty easily, I think, because it's not considered one of the best. But you'll be able to pick this up pretty good, $15 to $20, probably secondhand copy on vinyl or stream it or whatever your favorite streaming service is. But for now, back catalogues, Dog Eat Dog. And I'll see you in the next video. There'll be one up later this week.